like to thank you for every way being here to tell us what it is. And I've got a very specific question. Just today, on the internet, BBC, they said something like there are 50 countries that are registered right now together with the United States that condemn Venezuela. And my question is, what's your sense of how it got to 50? It just kind of it boggles the mind.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think another question to ask is, how many countries don't, right? Well, really, look at a map and zoom in like they zoom in on Guaido protests to imply there's a huge number of people, then zoom out and see there's not that many people, and there's a whole lot of countries. How many countries is it? 100 and something countries that don't support this? As for why, I assume it's the same reason that they veto or abstain from any sort of, in the UN, any sort of, lacking word I'm thinking here, against Israel. You know, there's all these countries that abstain or will vote with America and Canada because they're being bullied, because they don't want it to happen to them, maybe they have financial incentives. I think that, and there are also right-wing countries, the leadership at least, like Brazil, that have their own interest in aligning with America and Canada and the right-wing states. So I think there's a variety of reasons. But again, there's so many more countries that aren't supporting this.
Yes, we'll have another question, and then we're going to ask Hadiya to come up with a report. Jordan's by the way, Jordan's a member of the AU. You see here, he's a dance instructor. It's wonderful the little boys have a real man to look up to in the dance class. We love it.
My question is with regards to RT America and Russia Today. So it's kind of hard for people to get credible news, and I find I get lots of my news sources from RT. And if I want to use them in an argument, I find most people in Canada just kind of disregard it as like Russian propaganda. The same way I disregard like Washington Post and New York Times as being talking points for the military-industrial complex. People who like, well, RT is just a propaganda week for the Kremlin. And I know you contribute with them, so I wanted to know your opinion of RT America, because it's a kind of an interesting news organization that's popped up that has lots of other news anchors from other like BBC and whatnot. So I just like, and for me, I don't know. I've seen some videos that do might seem propaganda, but I've also seen lots of videos that are just like straight up like good reporting of things that no one else talks about. So I just wanted to know your opinion.
Yeah, I do contribute to RT. They were one of the first platforms to take my writing from Gaza. So I've been writing for RT op-ed pieces since 2013 or 14, I forget. And the other thing I'll just say about my contributing to RT, they don't censor me at all. At all. If they ever, a couple times in the past, they've changed one or two words, and you know, if it makes the flow better, okay. But if it changes the intent or the specific wording I want to use, I've actually said to them, no, that's not. I don't want to use that term, or no, I insist on using it. And they're like, all right, that's fine. So they don't censor me. But just as a slight segue, I'll give an example. A journalist named Junaid Khan attended one of my talks in Montreal, and a couple years ago, and he told me when the U.S. invaded Iraq, he was there, and he, at great effort, he wrote a 1,400-word piece. The great effort was getting it to his editor of La Presse, and he said she butchered it down to like 400 words, totally changed the tone, and his tone was, the Iraqi people are not happy about this invasion. And she changed the tone to be the opposite of that. And so that just makes me all the more grateful that there are platforms like RT where voices like mine and Vanessa Beeley and so many other people can be heard. I would never expect it to happen, but hey, if CBC would say, Eva, you can write an opinion column for us, and we will not touch a word of it, we will not change a word, then I would contribute to them. even though I loathe them, but I mean, the point is, they never would, right? And so I think this whole, oh, it's just Russian propaganda, it's just a very easy way to dismiss it. And you're right, you could easily just say, well, the Washington Post is just like CIA propaganda or whatever. But that's the thing, a lot of people who sling this accusation to me about it being me being a Kremlin propagandist, they don't question, well, who funds the BBC, right? And so it's a very cheap way to try to discount the content. But you can find content in RT that you can find in local journalist reporting as well, in independent sites like Mint Press News. So I personally think if somebody's going to use that like it's just Russian propaganda, they're probably beyond saving. But again, there are a lot of excellent programs on RT, and I don't always agree with everything they write. Like, for example, when they report on the Israelis' elite snipers gunning down unarmed protesters, including nurses and medics in Gaza, they call it clashes. And I hate that. And I call them out for that. And they've done some things I don't agree with. They are a business in the end. So they're not perfect, but I think they are still one of the very good websites, news platforms out there, yeah. Yeah.